Hello, hello. Welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
And we are without Erin, and that's quite okay. She is fine, everybody. We are back for another lovely chat with the two of us. Always a pleasure to see you, Rikki. How have you
Yes.
been?
You too, Candice. I'm good. As good as I can be. I just powering through this month. I mean, it's a third of the way over, and it's just the holidays are just fast approaching.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to tell you, I had to turn the TV off.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for a detox of
Mm-hmm.
all the things that have been going on. I feel like this year
Yeah.
has just been doing the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Truly.
in so many ways. It's like if it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah.
And I'm finding more and more what I understand about why people take a social media detox
Mm.
and just really, really decide to, because I have been, it's hard to turn out the noise and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just stay, focused inward.
Yeah.
But before I get into that just like I said, I've just been thinking about it. How was your week last week?
I
We
mean,
talked about a couple things, and I know that we had
yeah.
some challenges and stuff. How was your week last week?
I really can't complain. It was good. Just I feel like sticking to my regular daily routines and, trying to focus on what's right in front of me is all I do to just make each day go by a little bit faster. And,
Yeah.
there's so many things that I can worry about on a daily basis. It's especially like you said with social media adding to that. Sometimes we run to things like that to get, just a laugh or information, but then, you scroll and you're like, why do I feel worse than I got on here? Like,
This was supposed to be a life-giving activity. It's taking my life.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
So
how'd you
yeah,
do with your tracking? I know you had talked about that. Like that was going to be like one of the things you focused on. How did that go?
yeah, it was good. I think pre-tracking really, really helped, and making sure I set that up in the beginning of the day before and even earlier. There was one day where I was like, I know tomorrow I'm going out to a restaurant. I'm going to put that in the tracker, and I think that was really helpful. Because otherwise, I did have to go in and say, oh, actually, I had, a couple more chips than I thought. But, at least it was in there, it was honest, and it was tracked, it was done, and it wasn't a burden to have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have somebody in our group. I was laughing. She every single day she posts her tracker of
Oh,
what she's eaten, and she pre-tracks, the day
mhm,
she's like, I'm gonna get this much exercise. I have to find her name, but it's always motivating when you see
yeah,
people who are in the midst of all the craziness keeping their routine,
mhm,
and keeping the thing. Because I think that that's a part of making yourself feel a little bit better is being
mhm,
able to keep that routine. And you know what? I was trying to find it, of course, when you're doing that and talking, because I know that Erin had talked about you all had talked a few weeks ago about like the GLP tracking and
yeah,
how it was
yes,
nice to have the new interface and stuff.
mhm.
Is that still as exciting for you, or has it kind of dwindled down?
I still love it. I think just seeing I really learned that I don't have enough protein in a day, even on the days when I'm having, chicken for lunch, chicken for dinner, something like that.
Mhm.
And I have yogurt usually for breakfast, and it's one of those higher protein yogurts, and it's still not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I've been challenged to look at my snacks. I haven't really dove into that yet. Um, but yeah, I really have realized I need to find some high protein snacks to add to that. Thankfully, I'm not super hungry
Yeah.
for snacks, but um, I think it can help on those days where I'm like, craving certain foods. I've heard that, sometimes it's really, just you're not,
Protein.
yeah, protein can really help with that.
Yeah, and the girl's name was Helen. We have Helen Jones in our group. She always posts. I think she's gone like 36 weeks on Weight Watchers. She's down like 54, 55
Way to
pounds.
go.
But she's a pre-tracker, and
Mhm.
she shares her journal. If you can't find us, go to Real WW Talk on Facebook. It's a private group. You will have to answer a few questions to join. We do that on purpose because we are being inundated with these bots and spammers
Mm.
trying to get in and mess with us, and we are not having it. So, I am the Nazi who will be like, you are declined. So if you've been declined and you want to try to get in, just make sure you actually answer the questions,
Mhm.
and you're in, I promise, and be nice to everybody while you're there, and there won't be a problem.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's definitely I've loved something about a new feature of like an interface that makes it,
Mhm.
so brand new.
Yeah, and it's simplified. I still really like that piece of it, just being able to see in a very basic way visually versus the points,
Yeah.
how I'm doing.
Well, I was focused on my meal prep and making
Mhm.
sure that I was going to the grocery store. So I did pretty well with
Yeah,
that last
good.
week because again, I told my husband one we have this weird obsession with going to Costco. Costco is not like a place that you go for like every week. It's supposed to be like we're getting bulk shopping, but somehow the Edwards family has found a way to make it like a weekly occurrence because we feel like we forget something. We're like, did we get toilet paper? No, got to go to Costco. Did we need chicken breast? No, got to go to Costco. You would think we'd make a list. So
Right.
we don't have to keep doing this, but Costco loves us. And
Uh,
yeah, so we did that. I was able to go to the turkey, excuse me, turkey pumpkin chili Michael G thing.
and
Made
what did
that.
you
It was
think?
great. It was excellent. So I was
See?
surprised. Like I actually was okay with eating a bean. Didn't die and actually
Wow.
enjoyed it. Don't ask me how. I can't promise this is going to be a forever thing, but for right now, Candice can say she's officially a person who eats beans. Because I was the one who
Yay.
went to Chipotle and was like, beans? No. Now I'll do fajita veggies, but no on the beans. But now I might say yes.
I love that, and you're adding that fiber. It's just all around
So
good.
good, right? Because
Yeah.
that's something that people have told me about from time to time, but I told you I
Mhm.
always thought I only like pork and beans. They wanted the
Mm.
barbecue sauce. But now I know that that's not true. I can eat it in other ways.
I'm very proud of you.
I Well, like I said, I'm proud that we are focused. I'm so glad that we kind of started that discussion, last week about like how do you really put in self-care and other
Mhm.
things during stressful times. And I think that kind of piggybacks off of like I'm curious about how are you protecting your peace?
Mhm.
I guess I'll say it like that. How are you protecting your peace
Yeah.
when the world it feels is out to take it from you?
Mhm.
And I know that again, it maybe is aligned with self-care, but I feel like it's a little deeper. And I feel like this
Yeah.
definitely has something to do with our journeys because there's different ways that we can approach protecting our peace. Some are actionable things and some are taking away, things.
Mhm.
But when you think about protecting your peace, what does that look like for you?
That's really good. So I think sometimes it involves just what we were talking about with social media. Like, I identify my triggers. And again, talking about the students I work with, that's something they're asked to do. Like, what are your triggers? Like, if you don't know what your triggers are, and you just all of a sudden realize you're unhappy about something and you don't know what it is, that's you can't really fix it.
Mhm,
So I know what my triggers are, and sometimes it's found on social media, especially around the holidays. So, if I know I don't want to leave a moment or an interaction or a day feeling like less than, or like, I'm not doing the best I can, or I'm not where I should be in life, then I'm going to limit the thing that's making me feel that, or that could make me feel that way. And a lot of times that's social media.
mhm,
So for me, it starts with limiting that. And also, it starts with, realizing with these holidays what is important to me food wise. We talked about when I had the episode with Erin, when we missed you that one week, there was that really, I was talking about one of my favorite treats. And for me, it's those holiday oranges, the Terry's chocolate oranges.
I remember,
Um,
I think I was on that one.
oh, were you on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I had never had it.
Okay. So that is one of those things that I'm like, I look forward to that.
Mhm.
So when there's that box of nasty, I'm so sorry if I'm offending anyone. Let me not use any name brands, but those nasty chocolates that come in the box that have the little like picture on the bottom, you're just like,
Once
I
it's
think,
over.
and you're like, there's one flavor out of the 20 that you like, and you're
Yes.
like flipping it over to see if you could find it. Let me
I
turn
thought
it
I
this
was the only one, and then you accidentally get it, and you're like, "No, yuck." Yes.
way.
Sorry,
I
guys, if you like it.
I'm sorry, and we didn't put any brand names on blast for that, but, it's just like why would I, even though it's in the staff lounge, 'cause we know it's gonna be in the staff lounge, or maybe it's at the holiday party, why am I reaching for it if I know it's not what I want?
Yeah.
And for me, that's a boundary that I'm trying to set up and say, I need to be really stingy about my points this time of year, because the things that I do like are not 2 points. They're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
10 points, they're more. So if I want them, I'm not gonna deprive myself, but I'm also not gonna waste those
Mhm.
other points on junk.
And so that kind of helps when you're thinking about protecting your peace, being able to make sure that you're using the things that you really want that are quality and that make you
Mhm.
feel good, kind of
Mhm.
can put you in a different, because it is everything when you're putting things in your body that you don't,
Mhm.
one, that aren't the greatest for you, but that also you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that that kind of all ties in together. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, for me, when I think about protecting my peace, I've had to limit the conversations that I'm having with others that
Okay.
are triggering,
Mhm.
because not just on social media, but just like around, there's a lot of opinions that are around right now about life and about my life and about others' lives and what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing or going or where, that can make me feel really stressed and really either really stressed or really depressed.
Mhm.
And my protection of my peace has been limiting those conversations
Yeah.
and being able to find ways to put up boundaries more effectively. Because as a reformed people pleaser, I've had a really tough time with boundaries.
Mhm. Yeah.
And people will break them regularly if you let them. And then that causes me to want to do things that I would consider, I don't know if self harm is too strong of a word, but
Mhm.
like, I don't get on the bike. I don't sleep well. I don't eat well. If I'm in an agitated state, I don't treat me well.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so trying to work on those relationships and how I set those boundaries makes me is a really important thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that and about how so many in our community have shared how they've had frayed relationships when they're
Yeah.
going through life, and especially right now with everything being so heightened,
Mm.
and having to keep those boundaries is really important.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, there's so many ways to do that. So, do you have any specific tactics that have helped you
huh,
with doing that?
honestly, I've had to turn, like I said, if I see the conversation starting to shift,
Mhm.
I'm quick to, I don't want to say blame my son because that's not right.
Mm.
But,
You're
this is
resourceful.
gotta go. I got to go do this. And it's not about lying, but it's about being able to see that this is no longer serving me, like
Mm.
where this stuff is going, and cutting conversations short,
Yeah.
has been a lifesaver.
Mhm.
Um, Also protecting my time, like on the weekends. I used to spend a lot of time, wanting to spend time with people who matter. Has been
Mm.
important. So for me, like this is a season where you start to get invited to a lot of stuff. Some people,
Mhm.
and some people not. And I actually would prefer to be the one that isn't invited to everything. Even though it's like I want to be invited, but I don't want to go.
Mm.
It's like I want to be invited, but I don't want to go. But invite me so that I can tell you no, because I'm going to be upset if you didn't. I just don't actually want to be there.
Right.
But I'm trying to really make sure that I'm spending that time with people who make me feel good. So like I
Mhm.
am infusing my weekends and my time with people who I feel matter,
Yeah.
people who speak life and good things into me, so
Yeah.
that I have less time for the ones who I have to put boundaries on.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that it sounds harsh, but we have to realize it's not like
No.
any ill intent towards other people. It's not that I don't like you or you're not my
Yeah.
friend, but like there are some people who might even you be people you consider friends or family.
Yeah.
And you have to, for your own self like protection and the betterment of yourself in that moment, you might have to say, I can't make that event. I'm sorry. I, wish I could be there, but something came up, or, you
Yeah.
know, there's always, it feels bad saying that little white lie, whatever it is, but I don't think it's done, especially if it's done in a way to protect yourself and to make yourself, the priority, then I think that's okay.
But I think also, we're in the age of foot and mouth syndrome, and
Mm,
everybody knows it, where, people just don't, it's like they they don't know what to say, or when they
Mhm.
say things, there's just the filter, it's just not there, right? And
Mhm.
I think we all know who those people are, and we know how we're affected by it. Because I am a foodie, or one who can, I tend to turn to food when I'm feeling a certain way.
Mhm.
And if I know that it's not just an idea that I should kind of manage that. It's like a requirement for my health, because
Mhm.
I tend to want to eat my emotions.
Yeah.
And when I've just learned with certain people, I'm like, why is it that I am now wanting a cupcake, or why am I now wanting to do this kind of thing? It's because of these conversations, or how this person is.
Mhm.
And I've had to like literally again extract myself from the situation. Like I might not go, I might turn off my phone.
Mhm.
It's not, and you don't, and if you're the one you don't have to lie. You could just really just not be available. Like some
Mhm.
people, you can leave things on unread on your
Yeah.
phone. You can
Yeah.
say, I'm just not accessible right now,
Yeah.
and people start to get the hint. And I think that's important during this time of year.
Mhm. And I think another thing that can be hard is, like, changing routines with people. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a really good friend and you're used to always eating out and you don't wanna be the one to say, "Hey, can we do something different?" That can be hard, but I
Yeah.
think, that that's a way to start because maybe they are thinking the same thing, but they don't wanna say it first, and so I
Mhm.
think being the person to just say the thing, to say, "This is what I need for this friendship. You're one of my really good friends and I want to hang with you, but every time every time
Yeah.
we meet up we end up at the cupcake shop and we're
Mhm.
splitting 12 cupcakes." Like,
Yeah.
if that's a thing, then and it needs to not be a thing, then I think the openness and honesty is never something you would regret.
And being like you said, excuse me, the stupid cough from the sun,
Hmm.
but being loud and proud about accepting about your own self-care.
Hmm.
I think that that's something that we don't have to shy away from, because
Yeah.
it plays into everything that we do. Like, look, I'm really focused on myself right now and making myself the best version, because it's been a while and the world's crazy, and I just kind of need that focus to be on me.
Hmm.
So, no disrespect to you, but this is what this is going to look like right now.
Yeah.
And those who care about you, they'll come along on the journey with you, and those who don't won't.
Hmm.
And I think that's actually sometimes what we're more afraid of,
Yeah.
are those who we feel should adapt for where when we are taking care of ourselves, and then they don't,
Hmm.
you know?
And I think that takes maturity because I think you we're kind of bred to think that the more friends you have, the
Yeah,
better your life is or the more popular you are. But I think as you get older, you realize it's
yeah,
it's the quality, not the quantity of the friendships. And as you get older, as people kind of drop off here and there, I think you realize the people who are left are the ones that you really want there and you really
yeah.
need in your corner.
And nothing will show you that more than when you prioritize you.
Mm,
Because when you and I think that that's when you're like, "Okay, these are my people, because
yeah,
I'm prioritizing me and they're cheering me on."
yeah.
Because I feel like, and my hope is that for the people in my life who do that, or who show me that that's what they need, or even who express, "Hey, when we talk about that, that doesn't make me feel great." I would like to create a space where people can feel comfortable giving me feedback if something is harming them or not
Mhm.
making them feel good. Um, and for me to do the same, because
Yeah.
not everyone is always, we tend to be sometimes tone deaf to how we come across, and especially with very sensitive subjects,
Mm,
you know, weight, dating life,
mhm.
parental relationships, sibling relationships,
Yeah.
work, children, things that politics, people
Mm,
have opinions,
right.
and they feel like they have to interject. And sometimes we feel the need that we have to respond, or we have, no, you don't.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to have to explain. I just want to be able to say, it is important for me right now, especially right now when things are
Mhm.
so heightened, to
Mhm.
make me the absolute priority, because who else is going to do that?
Yeah. So what do you do to make yourself a priority as far as, like, what helps you to stay grounded, to stay calm, to stay centered when it feels like there's so much externally going on?
And it feels like a broken record, but I am a lover of exercising,
Yeah.
because and starting it early in the day. And that's
Mhm.
only because it sets the tone for me of the day. Like if I've started off the day with a good
Mhm.
workout, what I feel being good to me, it's
Yeah.
easier for me to continue doing those things throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I would say exercise for me, and I won't, and again, I'm not limiting myself to saying it has to be on the bike. It could be
Okay.
stretching. It could be walking around the house, cleaning things up because that's movement,
Mhm.
something. And also that's another thing too, is keeping my spaces organized,
Mm. Yeah.
because I find that when my spaces are cluttered, it's a reflection of what's going on up here.
Mhm.
And how great is it when you walk into a space and it's organized. So I've been trying to, in chunks, and it's hard with the kid because they don't care. They're like, oh, your living room's clean, knock these pillows over. But just making that a little for the spaces that I'm in frequently, like my work desk and stuff, making
Yeah.
sure that there's organization because it makes me happy.
I think that's great. Whatever makes you happy. I mean, that's different for everyone.
What about you?
Um, so for me, I think it's a combination of things too. I do love spending time with friends, but I love alone time too. And for
Mm,
me, a lot of times I love music. Like music just makes me happy, whether it's worship music or musicals or things like that. But I also love movies and they just make me happy. So sometimes it's watching a good movie. I love books and reading. So sometimes it's reading a good book and sometimes that might involve like wearing a face mask and
yeah.
taking off all my makeup and just making sure I'm as comfortable as I can be in my most comfortable sweatpants. And
Fluffy
just
socks. Are you a fluffy socks girl?
yes, usually, unless I'm hot and, and then the socks are the first to go.
Rikki doesn't get hot. She keeps her house at 85 degrees. No, I
Not
will.
85, not
I'm
quite
sorry. I would have.
85.
She just for the love of it, because she knows I'm menopausal, like medically menopausal. She's like, "Did you want me to turn the air down for you? Because I
I
know
think
it's
I had
gonna be
already
cold."
turned it down. I was like, "Do you want me to turn it down
She's like,
more?"
"I hope you're doing well." So I just want you to put on fluffy socks for me. So
Okay, okay.
yeah. But no, I think that that's so true. Yeah,
Mhm.
finding the things. Music is a great one too, because music can put you in a mood, good or
Yes,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I keep forgetting about that as a way to kind of,
Yeah.
because that's why I used to love. I'm a big fan of classical music.
Mm,
Jim Brickman, he's a kind of a he. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a pianist,
no.
but he does. Oh my gosh, like I love the way that he plays the piano. And he. I used to listen to him the whole time I was in college because there's
Okay.
no words. Some of his songs have lyrics, but many of the
Mhm.
times it's just him playing the piano,
I love
and
that.
it's just something relaxing. Like sometimes the words I don't need. I just need
Mm,
the feeling of the music,
yeah.
to put me into a mood.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking the same thing because sometimes we can be so overstimulated that we just can't. I know if I'm working and it's too quiet, I can't listen to music with words, but I want to listen to like the
mhm,
instrumental playlist or something
mhm,
because that like we can be overstimulated by like having too many sounds, too
mhm.
many lights on in the house, too many like little things around, like you said, the clutter that can overstimulate your brain. Like there's a lot of ways we can recenter ourselves without just adding more to it. It can be very simplified.
And I encourage you, if you're anything like me and you maybe feel like you're surrounded by clutter or something, and you're like, there, where I don't even know where to start. Like I'm looking at my son's kids' pile of toys and stuff, and it seems overwhelming. But there
Mhm.
really is something to how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Like
Mhm.
taking 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, just clean up what you can.
Yeah.
And then celebrating, stopping to celebrate that win, like we talked about last week, taking that time to say, I did that.
Mhm.
That's enough for right now. Like I
Yeah.
need to, it'll take some, yeah, sure. Of course you could do the big clean, but why are we against that? Because sometimes you throw all the clothes on the bed and then you're like, why did I do that? And you sleep on them for 2 weeks because you're like, I'm not gonna finish all that. Whereas we just take it in little chunks at a time and celebrate along the way, and
Mhm.
you know what, you'll get there,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think it does take some really meaningful work to be able to do that, but also realize part of the problem, with my personal challenge of decluttering is I can't keep adding to this. So that means I also have to set those boundaries with my spending and, really evaluate whether I need certain things before I'm filling up the space I just got rid of stuff with new things.
I understand that so much because, but in the moment you feel like I really need it,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
a discipline of saying, but do I? And
Mhm.
putting that space in between that we've talked about before. Yes, I can have it. I'm gonna give myself a few days. And then you go
Mhm.
home and then you see if you really want it a few days later. And you're like, you know what, I actually didn't need it. That
Yeah.
was okay. Well, this was a great conversation because as like I said, there's no one has to talk about how crazy the world is and how many
Mhm.
things are out to steal our joy, steal our peace.
Yeah.
There's tons, and it's up to us to let it happen. So whether it be by you especially eating well,
Mhm.
as a way for you to protect your peace, to drinking your water,
Mhm.
moving your body, getting enough rest,
Yeah.
doing things you enjoy. My wish for you is for you all to, Rikki, why don't you tell them how can they connect with us
Yes.
if they because we want to hear from you.
Yes, we have so many ways. We would love for you to send us an email. So realwwtalk@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. We're on Connect too. And we're on Instagram. So those are some great places to find us. Just search Real WW Talk. And we have the podcast. So hopefully you're popping in, listening to us. You can watch us, see what our outfits are looking like, see our faces, and YouTube. And we hope that you check in. We also have subscriptions. So if you want to buy us a cup of coffee, want to, just help us out a little bit, we are more than welcome to accept that. Just check out that link in our show
Show
notes.
notes, yep. We'll
Yeah.
put everything that we talked to. If you ever wonder where the show notes are, they're at the bottom of wherever you're streaming, usually in the description. So on YouTube, it's in the description. If it's on the podcast, wherever you're streaming it, there's a little kind of like descriptor paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to put links to things that we're talking about and how to connect with us on Connect.
Yeah.
And send us an email. Like you said, you can send us fan mail. I always say if you're going to send us fan mail through the podcast, if you send it to us, we will happily receive it and hopefully shout you out at some point, but we cannot respond to you directly. So do not think that we are being prudish or like we don't want to talk to you. We
Right.
just cannot. It's just not a feature.
No,
Maybe
but
they'll give it to us in the future.
yes, hopefully, 'cause we do love reading them. Thank you for sending them. Keep them coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you all take very good care and we will connect with you next week.
Yeah.
Erin should be back soon.
Yeah.
So we'll see her then. All right. Bye.
Bye.